Hi guys, good evening and welcome back once again to the EdWord. I'm your host Eddie and in tonight's video I will be discussing what I thought of the latest horror comedy from the ever popular and ever growing film studio that is A24 in the form of Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. That's the name of the film, Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. It came out on Thursday, but I had a chance to watch it earlier today, and I liked it. I enjoyed it for the most part. It was definitely improvement from the last horror A24 film I watched. Now, before I get into all of that, like most of my film reviews, this is a spoiler-filled film review, so if you haven't seen this movie yet and you want to, don't keep watching or listening, as I will be discussing spoilers. That being said, you have been warned. Let's dive right back into it. So, the thing that I liked about this is that it did live up to the genre, which was horror comedy, so it lived up to what it was promised. And I also liked how it was unexpected. Like, there were twists and turns I weren't expecting. Like, there was never a killer to begin with. It was just a bunch of accidental deaths. Well, with one intentional death being the exception. There was no killer, no hooded figure walking around with a machete or an axe or nothing. Just a bunch of freak accidents and a lot of horrific misunderstandings that resulted in most of our characters dying. And you know what? This movie had its pretty funny moments, and I felt like it was fairly well balanced with the more dramatic and scarier elements to it. Like, some of the unexpected twists were, I knew it wasn't going to be either David or Greg. It'd be too obvious if either one of them was the killer. And so I wasn't surprised that they weren't. But what I wasn't expecting is that the twist with Greg was that he wasn't a military veteran like our characters were led to believe, and they led the audience to believe. He was a regular veterinarian, not a military vet, but a vet like a veterinarian. Which was an unexpected and yet hilarious twist. And that cracked me up. In fact, it was a good-sized full house theater, and it got a big laugh out of the audience as well. I would say that the audience responded very well to this movie, at least the screening I went to. We laughed at the right times. We were like, "Aw," at other moments. And the film, despite being mostly horror comedy, had some pretty dramatic beats as well. Like, it handled friendships or toxic friendships really well, I thought. And if not necessarily toxic friendships, it handled friendships that come with a lot of emotional baggage. Whether or not it's the fault of the person or the circumstances that they were found themselves in or whatever. It felt like they handled, like, the conflict scenes between our characters, and when drama started to break out, it felt like it was handled really well, and it felt and sounded so real, which is why parts of it felt so awkward or uncomfortable to me, unfortunately. But thankfully, the feelings of awkwardness and discomfort did not last as long as I thought they would, because as the movie moved along, it got more into the horror comedy territory where where we started to think, oh, what's going on? Like, who amongst these characters are not who they appear to be, and who is killing whom and why? And then it turns out there was no killer after all. I mean, granted, B did kill Greg when they thought he was the killer, but besides his death, his murder, all the other deaths were completely accidental, like the big reveal that David, who played by Pete Davidson, who was the first to die, revealed that he accidentally killed himself trying to do some stupid TikTok stunt video with the machete and the champagne. You're like, oh no, you see where this is going. So that's what happened to him. Yeah, it was an interesting movie, and it was a big improvement over the last A24 film I watched, which was not good at all. And I don't know if people disliked it as much as I did, but I really did not care for Men. It didn't make sense. It was way too slow, and it just was downright confusing. Some impressive visual effects, but other than that, bad movie, just bad. So this was a big improvement. I was hoping this movie would be a lot more satisfying than Men, and it was for me at least. So I'm pleased that this A24 film turned out much better than I thought it would. So I liked it, as I hope you guys did as well. So what did you think of Bodies, Bodies, Bodies? Let me know what you think down below in the comments section. Have an awesome rest of your night if I don't see you again. And of course, until next time, may the force be with you.